Hi everyone, welcome to today's episode of Cooking with NMC. My name is Samantha DeToy and I'm a registered dietitian. So today we're going to be making a Mediterranean pizza, and what makes this pizza different is that we're going to be using chicken breast, which is really lean, a good source of protein and is very low in saturated fat, which is the type of fat that we should really try to cut down on. We're going to be using a bit of mozzarella cheese, and mozzarella cheese is much lower in fat than cheddar and some of the other high fat cheeses. We're going to be using some vegetables like red peppers, olives and a lot of garlic, just to increase the intake of fiber and also lots of the antioxidants that we get from these vegetables. So usually pizza is made from white flour, the base of the pizza, and unfortunately white flour is very much refined. All of the goodness has been taken out, and if we eat large portions of refined carbohydrates, this causes a lot of inflammation in the body. So a simple way of making sure that we take in less refined carbs is to use high fiber flour. So what we're doing with this pizza today is using brown bread flour instead of white bread flour. And if we look at the difference between brown and white bread flour, the brown flour has a lot more fiber and is actually above 6 grams per 100 gram, which classifies it as a high fiber food. Inflammation is a process in the body that occurs from unhealthy lifestyle behaviors, poor diet, too little exercise, a lot of stress, and it's on a long-term basis. Chronic inflammation is the cause of a lot of lifestyle diseases. So one way of fighting against this inflammation process is to make sure you follow or eat some anti-inflammatory foods in your diet. So a lot of the ingredients we're using today are all anti-inflammatory and fight this process and actually help to prevent disease. So especially your colorful vegetables, we're using red peppers, fresh herbs like basil and rosemary, lean protein like chicken breast, because the little saturated fat, it's very low in saturated fat. Too much saturated fat from foods like bacon and fatty red meat or processed red meat actually worsen inflammation. So make sure you include these in your diet. Now that we know why all those ingredients are so good for us, let's watch Cheryl put them all together for us. Over to you, Cheryl.
Hi everyone, like Samantha said, today we're going to be making a Mediterranean pizza, and for that we have 1 cup of brown bread flour, we have half a cup of low-fat plain yogurt, we have half a cup of mozzarella cheese, we have some chopped tomatoes, this is about a cup, we have some olives, this is about half a cup, and then we have 1 chicken breast which I've lightly seasoned with black pepper and some salt. And then here we've got 1 red pepper, we've got a fresh sprig of rosemary as well as some basil, and then here I have 3 cloves of garlic, I have some mushrooms, I have 4 tablespoons of olive oil, I have tomato paste, some sugar, some smoked paprika, some salt and some black pepper. I'm sure you guys are all excited to see how I'm gonna put all this together, but before that let me just quickly chop up my veggies and then I'll show you how it's done. So this recipe actually has 3 steps. The first step is the dough, putting the dough together, and then the second step is frying up the chicken as well as making the sauce that we're gonna do simultaneously, and then the last step is assembling everything together. So for now, let me show you how to do the dough. So what you need for the dough is a spatula, which you're gonna just use to scoop up the yogurt into the flour, Make sure you're using a bowl that's big enough. I'm not gonna use all the yogurt yet because I don't know what the consistency is gonna be. So if it's a little bit too tough, then I can add more of the yogurt. So then I'm just gonna use this spatula to mix the dough and the yogurt together. The aim is to form a thick enough dough that doesn't fall apart when we're gonna be rolling it out. And then once that is a bit incorporated, you can add some salt, just a little bit, I think about 1/8 of a teaspoon, just for that extra flavor. And then we mix everything together. This, if you have a kitchen mixer, you can also use a mixer, but then it doesn't take a lot of effort, so you can just as well use a spatula and then go in with your hands once the dough has formed. So for now, I'm gonna get rid of the spatula and really go in with my hands and knead this dough really well. I've got some extra flour here because I find that the dough is a little bit too sticky and too wet. So I'm just gonna put a little bit extra over it and then knead this flour until we have a nice thick dough that we can spread out into a pizza basically. So kneading with hands normally takes about 3 to 4 minutes, and then we let the dough rest once that is done, and then we continue with the chicken and the sauce. So the dough is done kneading. I'm gonna let this rest for about 10 to 15 minutes while we go get the sauces and the chicken done. Okay, so now we're gonna fry up the chicken breast as well as do the sauce. So for this we need about 2 tablespoons of oil. Samantha said you can use either olive oil or canola oil. And then I have the pan heating on medium heat. I'm gonna add this one to the saucepan as well. So what you do is just place your chicken breasts in the pan and make sure that all sides are fried. Okay, so we're gonna fry this chicken for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. In the meantime, we're gonna do the tomato sauce, which is the one that goes on the base. So for that, I have some garlic and rosemary here. I'm just gonna fry that up. Usually you will know when the garlic is ready when you start to smell it, like it smells like cooked garlic basically. So you fry that up. Normally it takes about 2 to 3 minutes on medium heat. Make sure your heat is on medium. And then you add your tomato sauce. This is a cup of tomato sauce, but then I think I'm only gonna need about 3/4 of a cup because it's only one pizza that we're making. You add that, make sure that you stir everything together. It's gonna be nice and garlicky. I have used 3 cloves of garlic here, and then I'm gonna add about, again, another 1/2 teaspoon of smoked paprika. I really love using smoked paprika in my tomato sauces because it gives it that smokiness and the flavor is really nice. To this, I'm gonna add a tablespoon of tomato paste as well. And then whenever you use tomato paste or tomatoes, you always add a little bit of sugar. I think it's about a teaspoon, just to offset that acidity of the tomatoes. And then you just continue to stir everything together. I'm gonna crank the heat up a little bit. Gonna take it to 4 medium, and then just cook this. This only needs about, say, 5 minutes before it's ready. You just need it to bubble up a little bit. You can smash the big chunks of tomatoes with a fork so that it's as smooth as possible. Or if you like your pizza sauce to be a bit chunky, then you can skip this step. But then I like mine a little bit more smooth, so that's why I'm just crushing the tomatoes up with a fork. Okay, I think now the chicken is about ready to turn to the other side. So then we just flip it over. It's anyway gonna cook a bit more in the oven, so you don't need to cook it all the way through. About 80% of the way through is fine. Flip this over. I highly recommend that you use a non-stick pan if you have one, because it's gonna make your job so much easier. But if not, then just a little bit of extra washing for you to do. Okay, so now the chicken and the sauce is done. I've just had a taste of this and it's very delicious. Make sure to add your favorite herbs. I've just used some rosemary. You can always add something like thyme, a bit of parsley and so on. So also the dough has been resting for about 15 minutes now. We're gonna roll it out and then we're gonna place it on the pizza stone and then we're gonna assemble. Okay, so now I'm gonna roll out the dough straight on this counter, but then before that I'm gonna just give it a quick wipe down. I've already cleaned it with some soap. Now I'm just making sure that the surface is dry. You want to flour your surface so that the dough does not stick. And then we take the dough, make sure to flour the top of the dough as well before you roll it out. And then I'm gonna take the rolling pin and then just roll it out to a circle. Or if you have a square pan, you can also do a square pizza. I mean, a pizza doesn't have to be round. Traditionally it is, but it doesn't have to. So we just roll this out. Okay, so now that the dough is rolled out, we're gonna sauce the pizza, sauce the base. So for that, I'm just gonna take a couple of tablespoons of the sauce and place it all around the pizza. You can go as much or as little as you like. I normally like my pizza quite saucy. I think that should be about enough. Spread this out evenly, and then we'll go in with the rest of the veggies. So now I'll do some olives which I've already chopped up. Just place that all around the pizza. Okay, that should be enough. Now we're gonna go in with the mushrooms and the peppers. Just try to place them as uniformly as possible so that each person gets a bite of the veggies. You can as well fry the mushrooms a little bit, maybe give it a bit more flavor just in a little bit of oil, a little bit of garlic before you put it on. But I like mine just like this because I like that earthiness of the mushrooms. I'm gonna put just a few more. Okay, and now we're gonna go in with the chicken. For that, I'm just gonna use this spoon, place it all around again. Oops. Okay, but it just landed perfectly, so that's fine. The goal is for each slice to have a bit of everything. So a bit of the olives, bit of the mushrooms, the chicken. Okay, I think we're gonna do all the strips, because Samantha said protein is good for you. There we go. Okay, so now I'm gonna go in with the peppers. Just place them around as well, as evenly as you can. Try to get them squeezed into the little parts where there's not a lot of veggies and the meat, so that it doesn't fall off when you are cutting and eating it. I think that should be about fine. Oops. Okay. And then now we go in with the cheese. This is about half a cup, but I don't think we're gonna need all this. So let's see. Just spread this around as well. Scatter it as evenly as possible, just like the rest of the ingredients. And then lastly, we're gonna do the basil. Basil is actually one of my favorite herbs. So you can do a few now before you bake, and then you can come put some afterwards as well for that freshness. So how good does this look, guys? Tell me in the comment section what your favorite pizza toppings are and how you would modify this one. I would really like to know. Okay, now we're gonna bake this in the oven for about 30 to 40 minutes. The oven is already preheating at 180 degrees. Bake this and then we're gonna come back and slice. Okay, so now we're gonna wait for that pizza to finish baking, and then we're gonna clean up in the meantime and then get the space ready to slice the pizza and plate it. So the pizza has been in the oven for 40 minutes and it's ready now, so let's go take it out. Smells so amazing. Okay. How good does this look? It smells very, very nice. Okay, before I cut a slice for myself, I'm going to sprinkle a bit more of the fresh basil that I have here. And then I'm going to cut a slice for myself. How beautiful does this look? So, so good. So this is the Mediterranean pizza. It's very easy to make, it's healthy, and it's dietitian approved. Please do try it out. Tag us, tag me and NMC, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye.